Hi, I'm Sam Helmler, and this is Transformational Coaching, a podcast where I work with extraordinary women on the verge of great change. These women are bold, brave leaders, pioneers in their field. They aren't afraid of transformation, they welcome it. These women know that when they challenge the underlying beliefs and limiting thought patterns that have guided their lives up until now, everything around them changes too. What work is done on the inside shows up on the outside with incredible changes to their careers, their relationships, their home and personal lives. So welcome. This is Transformational Coaching, changing lives one conversation at a time. Okay, so shall we start by taking a few breaths
Yes.
together?
Yes.
In your own time and in your own way, however feels good. Okay. So, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's nice to start the day with you.
And with you. So, thinking about these 8 weeks, do you have a feeling for what you would like to have at the end of those 8 weeks that you perhaps don't have now?
I was thinking that I think I want to bring structure and clarity into kind of different things that I'm planning to do. Having a very clear vision, maybe making a vision board. I watched your video on making a vision board and I loved it. Um, and and yeah, so maybe like bullet points. So the kind of vision, the structure, clarity, and vision for different aspects of different directions that I'm going to be working on. Removing kind of old belief systems that are still lingering. And kind of that as part of kind of helping me move through that transition period, like we discussed yesterday. I think I am in this very special moment when I am moving kind of to a new version of myself. And I think a lot of kind of old stuff is already gone, but there are some bits and pieces that kind of are still stuck to the walls, you know? So like removing those, it's almost like, you know, the old paintings were removed, but the stains are still there, you know? And kind of removing those stains or repainting the walls, if you will.
So there's one thing which is, let me see if I've got this right. There's one thing which is about the structure, the vision, the clarity of what you want to do and what you want to achieve. And that applies to a few different areas in your life. You've got a few things going on at the moment. And for each of those, you want to get a bit clearer and feel like you have a structure for how you can progress each of those
Yeah.
things the way you want to. And then alongside that, there's the real inner work, which is the underlying beliefs and patterns and the mindset that's going to help you progress each of those things and
Yeah.
step into that future version of yourself. It sounds like you can see it, like you're part way there, but there's just a little bit
Yeah.
more that needs to happen.
Yeah, exactly. 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 And I think another thing, like you said, that like the mindset that will help me get there. And I think there is a bit of removing the mindset that will preclude me from going there, because I think that's kind of the big part of it. Like I think there's a big part of the old system that is still holding me back.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like removing that is but I don't know, maybe it's to building something new.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how will you know when those belief patterns have changed? What will that look like?
That's a good question. um how will I know? I think I will know that when I will start waking up with excitement and gratitude and joy. Like I feel there is a lack of innocent joy within me. Like there's a lot of this kind of, I accumulated some kind of heaviness over my life. I've become too rational and too serious,
Mm-hmm.
and and also too um I don't know if complacent is the word. Maybe it's complacent, but like there is somehow a lack of genuine gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I'm ungrateful. It's almost like there's something else in me that's blocking it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I mean, I have so many nice things to be grateful for, but somehow there's something is missing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me reflect that back and see if I've got it. You'll know that your underlying belief patterns have changed the way you want them to when you wake up feeling grateful, excited, that innocent joy, a lightness instead of a heaviness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that's what I think. I don't know if that's, but I feel like it's missing in my life now.
Mm-hmm.
And even that now that I don't have any job and when I'm on vacation,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any commitments. The things that I'm supposed to be doing are nice things that are supposed to be giving me energy,
Mm-hmm.
but there's still some kind of heaviness. And maybe it's also part of the accumulated tiredness. Maybe I just haven't given myself the time to just rest and really rest to
Mm-hmm.
be able to get that, because it's also very early stages. So maybe I'm just rushing things. I had a really nice dinner yesterday with my ex-colleague, and I said something like, I wish somebody would tell me earlier. And then he said, Well, a lot of things take time and experience. And maybe I haven't gotten there yet because all my kind of life, I worked in the survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
And there was never a feeling of safety and security and kind of financial security and overall kind of general feeling of safety in my body. I've never had that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm literally discovering it now. It's a very new thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's okay that I'm not waking up joyful and grateful and excited because I'm still kind of in a very new territory, and it takes like I'm almost like I'm disoriented. I don't know how to, like, I've been given a new system, but I am still new in this
Mm-hmm.
world.
Okay, so this feeling of safety that was never there physically, financially, overall, it's there now. You're starting to feel it, and it's a disorientating feeling. It's
Yeah.
unknown and it's taking a while to settle in.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we were to time travel, let's time travel maybe 6 months into the future, and we're meeting again 6 months' time from now. And you turn to me and you say, Sam, you would never believe what my life looks like now. It's extraordinary. Tell me, what's it like in this 6 month future version? Tell me about it.
Oh, it's so scary. Oh, where are we in 6 months? We're now in what it's end of June.
So we're heading into winter. We're heading into winter solstice and Christmas time. You've had 6 months of all of this work behind you, and everything that you have wanted to happen has come true. Tell me about it.
Um, um, well, the first thing that comes to mind is that I wake up in the mornings in a cozy home. I haven't made my home cozy. It is a little bit cozy, but not like cozy, cozy. So I made my home much cozier and nicer.
Mhm.
And and I managed to create a certain structure in my day, which is not structured. I don't like structure. But at the same time, there is this constant kind of rush is not there anymore. There's an easy flow, and there's some level of structure around it that I know what I'm doing. I'm not behind. I'm not in a constant rush to catch up. And I don't feel like I wake up with a feeling of contentment, but not a not a contentment of um, like contentment with gratitude, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Contentment, is that the word?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and I am moving through life with that sense of quiet confidence,
Mm-hmm.
um, of a very strong woman
Mm-hmm.
that that knows her boundaries very strongly.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to come back to that after we finish this. And I have done a few shows of my show, a few performances. I already have one scheduled. I'm going to Oxford Storytelling Festival in September.
Excellent.
And let's just say that I have at least two more until end of December. At
Mm-hmm.
least.
So
That
you've done three. Here we are, coming to December time. You've done three
I
shows.
have done at least three performances, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
in different places.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have completed probably my coaching course. I don't actually remember how long it will take me.
Mm-hmm.
I have completed or I'm coming to completion
Mm-hmm.
of my coaching course. Um, I have my workshop business is growing.
Tell me about that. What's this workshop business?
So my whole idea was to start creating storytelling workshops for business.
Let's make it that it's already happened.
It
I have
happened.
created
I have
story.
created, well, I already had one client and I already
Excellent.
delivered one workshop. So my workshop business is growing. I
Wonderful.
am delivering workshops. I have a very good, stable income coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it keeps growing. It's expanding.
Mm-hmm.
I continue creating different product offerings. And I'm really enjoying this process.
Mm.
I'm really in it. I'm reading a lot. I am investing in creating a very special product.
Mm. And why is it so special to you? What makes it important to you?
Um, I feel a lot of people in corporate world are struggling with their sense of belonging
Mm-hmm.
in the world and their sense of purpose. Like I think a lot of people feel that and I've been in those shoes, that their corporate job does not give them enough satisfaction. And I think after my Vipassana experience and then now after the storytelling course, I am discovering that there's so many things we can change if we change the framing.
Mm-hmm.
And in my last years of my corporate job, I was finding a lot more sense of purpose that I had before. But there was still a lot of this pressure, internal pressure, and a lot of disbalance within me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think bringing different tools to people that they're not used to in the corporate world will help them so much to find their peace within that would make them happier and improve their productivity.
Mm-hmm. And
So obviously, like if I'm wanting to sell something to the business world, I need a value for the business.
mm-hmm.
But I want to stay committed to helping people finding their sense of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the storytelling is such a beautiful way into it because it's about the stories we tell ourselves in the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not always doing it great for myself, but
It's always harder for ourselves, right? So much easier when it's for someone else.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I think there is the underlying thing of just helping people becoming happier. I don't know.
mm-hmm. Okay, so let me see if I've got this right. You have a successful and growing workshop business where you go into different companies and you work with people using storytelling and maybe some other tools as well. And it's a double win. You get them feeling happier in themselves and therefore performing better in their jobs as well. You
Yeah.
yourself are confident, you have strong boundaries, you walk through life with that quiet groundedness and assuredness of a strong woman, and you are peaceful. You have no rush. You are in the flow. You're not rushing to catch up with anything.
Yes.
And you're grateful, and you have some of that childhood excitement and innocence and contentment in your being.
Yes.
You wake up with that feeling in the mornings.
Yes. And with all of that, I am being a very good mother
Mm-hmm.
and I'm finding this balance between achieving my goals
Mm-hmm.
while not compromising on the needs of my daughter, which has been a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Okay. So
um,
so take me back. We've met in 6 months' time. You've told me that all of this is going brilliantly. It's all working really, really well for you. What was in your way 6 months ago? Why wasn't all of this happening 6 months ago?
um, because something is wrong with my brain, is what I want to say.
Tell me more. What's wrong with your brain?
Something is wrong with my brain. I I'm really great at procrastinating. That's a real talent I have.
Mm-hmm.
um, Yeah, I'm trying to just, I don't know, there's something happening in my brain now. I'm trying to figure out like so at this point in time, I have clear evidence that there is pretty much nothing that would preclude me from achieving this.
Mm-hmm.
My performance was a success. People really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really up to me to kind of knock on doors until the doors open.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there is still a lot of kind of insecurity and fear of rejection. And I know that rejection will be there. And I know that rejection is part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, you know, if you try 10 times and 10 times you get a no, you try another 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then there will be a time when you will get a yes. I have a full confidence that's how the world works.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow my body, there's this maybe maybe there is just so much vulnerability around this, all of these areas,
Mm-hmm.
that it just becomes a much scarier process to be rejected, you know, and to fail.
Mm-hmm.
I think in all my previous life, when I was doing my career growing, it was never my dream to work in a corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
I was never invested in that. And it was easier to fail and get up and do it again. And I became very, very successful at what I did because I didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just did it out of necessity, like out of survival. Like, yeah, I think that's maybe that's also an interesting thing. Like, there was this belief that in order to survive, I need to work hard and earn money and climb the corporate ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And because there was not no like soul connection to it, it was kind of an easy job in a way. Because you're almost like your heart is detached from a process. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
it was hurtful when I would be like failing and getting bad feedback, and not, it was not easy, but it wasn't a vulnerable space, not to the extent that it is now.
Okay, I hear that. I hear that there's a heart connection, there's a heart involvement in what you're doing now. And the fear of rejection, therefore, is much bigger than it ever was
Yeah,
before. Because this is about you. This is your
yeah,
heart and soul. And it never was before. It was a task that you did because you had to.
yeah,
About Amelia showing herself in her full vulnerability. And that
yeah.
makes it scary.
That's very scary. So that's, I think that's number, and I think that applies both to my storytelling, like my performances and my business, because it's almost like it's my babies, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's my creation.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're sending your child into the world and someone is telling you your child is not enough, you know, it's not good enough. And it's, you know, it's a very different relationship that you're having to your own creation, and when you're working for somebody else in a corporate world,
Yeah.
it's not your product, it's not your, you can still be invested, you can still connect. Like I was very connected to my team, and it was my team, and I would kill people for my team. But it was still different than it is now. It's like it's a step further. Because I was still experiencing a lot of that back there, but it's again, it's a different process because there was also this idea that I couldn't give up there. Like I was dependent on my salary, and it was a very safe space. It was like this, like, like you get into that kind of cycle of, what is it, like a wheel where the mouse is?
Oh yeah, yeah. The hamster wheel.
Hamster wheel. And it's a very safe space, you know?
Because you don't have to think, you just keep on
You don't
doing.
have to think. You keep on doing it, get your salary. I mean, you still have to think a lot, but it's this safe cycle.
Mhm.
And here and there is this belief that I cannot quit it because I have to work. I
Mhm.
have to survive. Again, there was this strong, like up until today, I lived in the survival mode.
Mhm.
And when you're in a survival mode, everything is easy because you live on adrenaline, and constantly in fight and flight response.
Mhm.
And it's very tiring, but it's easy in a way. Your system knows how to do it.
Sure.
And it's an instinctual thing. It's again, you almost don't think about it because you have to survive. Your instincts kick in and you're going through it.
Mhm. So if I was to ask you to teach somebody else how to be a hamster in a wheel, how to climb the corporate ladder, how to work crazy hard to get where you
Yes.
needed to be, to handle rejection and get back up and do it again, to do all of this without risking yourself, your heart or your soul, just to carry out a function because you had to, how to be addicted to fight or flight mode, you
Yeah,
could teach that really well.
really well. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. And I think what's happening now is it is not a flight or fight mode when you are doing your thing. It's almost a luxury. Like that's how it feels to me,
Mm.
because it's not like I don't think I could have ever, I don't think I was allowed to dream that.
Are you allowed it now? Are you allowed a luxury way of life?
A little bit, but it's a very, again, it's a very new territory. Like I've been told my whole life that hardship is a way, struggle is a way, suffering is a way, you
Mhm.
know? And privilege is bad, and luxury is bad, and I am not worth it. I am not part of that group of people.
It belongs to somebody else.
It
It doesn't
belongs to
belong to
somebody
you.
else. Yeah. And that's one element of it. Another element of it is that this hamster wheel is kind of a safety net at the moment. And I keep saying that if it doesn't work, I can always go back to my corporate job.
Mhm.
And it's true, and it's in a way, it's a good thing. In a way, it gives me a sense of security that at this point, I think in my earlier life, I was always kind of walking on the edge. Like I always felt like there can come a moment in my life where something will happen to my brain and I will go really crazy. Like I will fall down. Like I always felt like I'm really walking on the edge of sanity.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's dangerous, that I can always fall down and I will never recover. I will end up in crumbles and I will not have anything. I don't have a family that can support me. I don't have a husband. Like that's it. I will crumble and things will fall apart. I think all of my 20s and maybe early 30s, that was a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I am in a stage of my life where I think I passed the threshold. I I moved away from the edge
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I'm actually okay. Like my mental space is okay. And I have achieved so much success in my career that there will never be a time that there will be shortage of money and means. I can always provide for myself. Um, and I think that's a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it almost becomes a kind of detrimental cushion because I kind of feel like if something doesn't work, I can fall back and I can forget about this thing.
Hmm. So it sounds like you know that you've got an easy way out, which is both a relief, but also you don't want it. You don't want to have the easy way out because is
Yeah,
that
because I want
right?
to give, yeah, because I want to give it my all.
Mm-hmm. Without
Like,
holding back.
yeah. And I feel like I should be able to achieve success. Like, it's, I mean, if I look at all the people who are doing similar things, there's nothing that I lack at the moment.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm
let
very capable.
extraordinary. I mean, what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is an incredibly successful woman, an incredibly tenacious, strong-willed, determined woman who's walked the edge of sanity, who knows that feeling of feeling like she could fall at any minute, and who knows that chronic stress and survival mode, and who has managed to get past that and to come into a space that is safer. That
Yeah.
is extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. I heard something the other day that really resonated with me about procrastination. And it said something along the lines of it's not laziness, it's not something wrong with your brain. Procrastination is the fear of being seen for who you really are in your
Yes.
full magnificence, in your
Yeah.
full glory. How does that land with you?
That lands very well. And that's like there's a big part of it where so and I think I want to break it down actually because I think there is a lot of that elements of one is I think I was raised in the environment like with a lot of superstition and a lot of this kind of fear around success and fame. And we have this concept of um, like envy, that if you become very successful, people will envy you and people will jinx you. There's a lot of jinxing and evil eye, and don't tell anyone anything until it happens. Don't tell about your plans, and don't be too, like, what is it? The happiness loves quietness, or it's like you don't show your happiness publicly, because something bad will happen to you.
So there was fear around success, fear around
Yeah,
fame. It's a
yeah,
scary thing.
yeah. And it's like, if you talk about it, it will vanish
Mm-hmm.
and bad things will happen. And I think and I think it's part of my core structures. It's not like a small belief. It's like the you know how in the building you have
The
the
foundations.
foundation walls, like the walls you
Mm-hmm.
cannot like break.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's part of my foundation. Like it's almost ingrained. And I am trying to break through that, but I feel that it's on the background. It's like every time I share something with people, there's this little voice. It's like, are you sure you wanted to do that? Well, let's wait for the bad thing now. And then when something bad happens, there's this voice coming back. It's like, I told you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm trying really hard. I'm like, things happen and doesn't have to be connected. It's not working out because I told somebody about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not working out because it's not time yet.
So let me see if I've got this right. I'm just getting my dog back on Dave's cushion because he's back dancing. Don't you hear? Okay. So there's a really strong, deeply rooted belief in you, one that you don't want to have, one that you know that doesn't serve you, but it's there nevertheless, which is that it's dangerous to be successful, and it's especially dangerous to tell anyone anything until that's already been completed.
Yeah,
And that's something that you'd like to let go of.
exactly. Exactly.
So tell me about you as your best self. When you picture yourself, your full magnificence, your full glory, stepping into life with that astonishing vulnerability, which is, by the way, also your greatest power, even though it may not feel true right now. Your vulnerability is your greatest power. So tell me, who are you in your best, full, shining, glorious self?
I don't know. I think there's this other thing that is also another belief that's very hard. I think that one is even harder to get through. It's this idea of like talking high about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the biggest dissonance that was happening after my show, because people were asking me how did it go.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I had to tell the truth that it went amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt so weird to be telling people that, you know, I had a standing ovation, and it was a real success, and I did it amazingly. And it was a very weird kind of feeling to be there, to do that, but also to hear it back. Like when my friends who were there would tell me that, like, how fabulous I was and how this and that. And I was just like, there was this constant feeling that I was like, I was almost like leaving my body. I was like, I didn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and I think that was a bit of a shock.
Mm-hmm.
It was like shock and like surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So you would have liked to have been more in your body at that time. You would have liked
yeah,
more of
because
the.
also, again, I feel like it's such a big difference between what was happening with me in my corporate job. It's like, I remember when, it's interesting because it's also like it's hitting me now again that there's this, it's almost like completely different worlds, like realities. Like a few years back, I was asked to host a finance live at our company. So it's like we create this gatherings for the whole department. It's like a 1 hour thing where different leaders present something, and we hired this beautiful building in Amsterdam. Like it's a gorgeous historical building where our king and queen were marrying or something. Like it's really like iconic building. And it was a big event. Like it was maybe like 500 people in the room, and there was maybe like 1,000 people on the camera on live. And we had like a proper stage with like cameras and equipment, and I had this woman who was doing makeup for me, really lovely lady, and I looked amazing. And so I was hosting, I was co-hosting with another guy, and I created an amazing script for our hosting. I wrote a poem that I read on stage, my own poem, which was like super great. It was amazing. And I've got a great feedback. And I left the space and I was feeling electrified.
I
Like
see it in you. You look electrified.
exactly how you're supposed to look after and feel after that. Like it was all over my body. I could feel it in my veins. I was excited and I was powerful and I was happy and I was joyful. And I went out and I told everyone how great I was and how great it was. And it was everything. And I was basking in that light for a few months until it dimmed.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done anything with it. I was gonna like try to do more of these things, but again, I got scared and I didn't do anything. But at least I had the feeling, and I did not have, there was no shame in um, telling people about it. There was no shame in um, recognizing my success.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking that because I feel like in that space, I've earned it. I have credibility to have, like, I'm a credible person to have that success. I think that's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I'm coming now, that while I'm talking. And then, because also in my corporate world, I also felt like a fraud for a long time until I finally stopped feeling like a fraud.
Mm-hmm. And how did you stop feeling like a fraud?
I think with years of experience, I finally like it's only like the years that I'm like, okay, now I have really proof that I can do these things because for many years I felt like I was faking until I make it, and I was really good at faking.
Mhm.
Um,
So
but
in
so somehow it was a very different experience with my show.
mm,
I didn't come out of it feeling electrified. And it was very difficult to talk about my success. It was very difficult to say that I was great because I still do not believe I'm an artist.
what does it mean to be an artist? Tell me, a credible artist. What does
I,
it mean?
I always have that feeling, and my storytelling coach always destroys me for telling these things. But I almost have this thing that in order to be an artist, you need to have a talent at birth. It's a birthright
Mhm.
that I wasn't blessed with, you know.
How do you know you weren't blessed?
I know, like in my bones, like I just know that I'm a mediocre artist.
Where is your
I
evidence for this?
am.
Where is your evidence for that?
It's a comparative research.
Because what I'm hearing is you had never been on stage before. You had never done storytelling really before. You go and do one course, you put on a show that exposes you as your most vulnerable, and you do it, and it's a hit. So I'm not hearing mediocre artist, I'm hearing blinding success star artist. So this is where I'm wondering, where are your bones getting their information from?
Well, I've been lucky to see really talented people.
Did they also get standing ovations after doing one show with one tiny course behind them, which would suggest an incredible amount of natural talent?
To me, it's not a definition of talent.
Tell me more.
I think there are people who, and also, by the way, I am not taking the fact away that maybe I was born with some talent, but
Mhm,
I was a really rough, I had a really rough trauma conditioning that stripped anything that I might have had away.
mhm,
Um, but I see people who see the world as artists.
mhm,
And I do not see that. I learn, like I'm really great at absorbing the tools
mhm,
and adapting myself.
mhm,
I have really great adaptability.
mhm,
So now I'm taking this course on how to make videos on a phone,
mhm,
nice videos on the phone. And this woman really nicely explains the composition and lighting and this and that. And I watch it and I get it. I understand
mhm,
the concept. And I know that I can go out in the world, and if I do this for 2 years, I will learn the tricks to create nice videos.
mhm,
But I know people who have the eye. They go out and they see a beauty in mundane and they make a beautiful shot, artistic shot.
mhm,
And yes, they also learned the skills to polish their what they have. And for me, it's almost like I don't see the world. I look at the book and the book tells me look there, stand here, do this. And I'm like, okay, I can learn that. And I can pretend, I can learn to pretend to be good at it.
So there's something about effort in your belief system around an artist. A true artist doesn't have to put in any effort. They just have it naturally. But
Yeah,
because
I have that belief. And they
okay.
also put a lot of effort, of course. But there's almost something, they see a world from a very unique perspective. And I feel like I don't. I don't know.
It's about vision. It's about a way of seeing the world.
Yeah.
And you can learn how to see the world, but somehow that takes away the artistic credibility for you, that you have to learn how to see that it's not just something that happens automatically.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
And also the experience in years, you know? Like I think like if I do that for 10 years, I will get to a point where I will feel that I am entitled to feel good about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost when I was invited to do my first workshop, so 2 weeks ago I did my first workshop
Mm-hmm.
back in my previous company and on storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was feeling again like a fraud. Like I've only done a 3 month course.
Mm-hmm.
And who am I to go and tell people how to do storytelling? I am not a renowned storyteller. I'm still learning. And I have that approach and like I am not, yeah, I have hard times to, you know, taking my space.
Okay. I want to come back to taking your space in a minute. But before we do, that workshop that you did, how did it go? The
It went
storytelling.
fantastic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What did people gain from
People said it went fantastic, but again, it was again a very weird feeling.
that you didn't deserve it because you've
I
only
didn't
started?
deserve it, and I received an amazing email from the lady that hired me,
Mm,
who is the head of the big team in a big organization, senior vice president.
yeah.
And she sends me this really nice email, and I look at it, and it takes me a week to respond to her and say thank you. Because in my whole body, I can't. I just don't feel I deserve it. I don't feel like it's me. I don't know. It's a very weird, I cannot even explain it. I was walking every day and thinking, why am I not responding to that email? She wrote such nice things, and it's so impolite to not respond and say thank you.
Okay.
But somehow there's this complete blockage. It's like, I don't know, it's very hard to even understand what it, like, I don't know what it is.
Let me reflect to you what I'm seeing and hearing and see if I've got it right. Because what I'm seeing and hearing is that you're new to this game. You're new to being an artist. You're new to expressing yourself creatively with full vulnerability. You're new to sharing that with other people. This is a whole new world and a whole new way of being for you. And what I'm also hearing is that every single step along this, albeit very short journey so far, has been extremely successful. And that not only has it been a success for you, but you've been touching the lives of other people, which is exactly what you want to do. You touched their lives when you put that show on and performed, and they felt it, and they stood and they cheered and they clapped for you. And you touched their lives when you gave a storytelling workshop, and they felt it, and it mattered to them, and it made a difference to them. And the woman who hosted it saw it and recognized how powerful what you gave them was. So, what I'm hearing is yes, this is the beginning of a journey. And no, you don't have 10 years behind you yet. How can you? You've only just started. But what I'm seeing and hearing is you've got a gift for this. And it may not look like what other people see artists' gifts as looking like. Yes, yours might involve a bit of learning, but by God, it's working. It's really working. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So maybe you could let go ever so gently of that idea of what an artist sees and does and who that artist has to be in order to be real. Maybe that is something that you could very gently just let go of because I
Yeah.
don't think you need it.
Yeah.
And let yourself be a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Can you do that?
Maybe. I, yeah, I think I want to have a different framing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not the lightness that I need, but the I don't, the heaviness is not the right word, but I almost I want to learn to like sit into that shape. And
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking yesterday that I feel that my whole life I was very and that's why I brought the taking my space thing, because I think it's part of that relationship dynamic. I've always made myself smaller, and I'm always accommodating people and um, making myself comfortable uh, for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking yesterday that I want to become like, I almost want to develop a certain arrogance,
Mm-hmm.
but not like a bad arrogance. I was driving to a meeting with a lawyer yesterday, and I was a bit late, and I was feeling bad. And then I was thinking, well, I am paying for this time, and I shouldn't be feeling bad, you know? And then I was reflecting on like partners in my previous organization, like the big bosses, like the senior people who would always run late,
Mm-hmm.
come unprepared, and like, and just be there. And they're so confident in the value they bring on a table, and they're not apologetic for who they are. And they don't adjust their calendar for somebody else. they make somebody else adjust to their calendar. And I almost feel that I need a little bit of that quality where it's not the lightness that I am cultivating, because I have a lot of lightness about my nature of me, and I'm very easy, and I want to become more difficult.
I hear that.
But I don't want to over cross a certain. I still want to be a nice person with strong values, but I want to become the person, and to me it's very connected to what we discussed, because I can almost feel that it's a gateway to that level of confidence that I am a great artist. And and it's almost also, yeah. And there's this other thing that is very important, that I always feel myself inferior to other people who, in my opinion, have achieved a certain level of success or have some level of talent. And I want to learn to not do that and speak to people from an equal position. So tomorrow, when I go out to sell my workshop business to a senior leader, I talk to them on an equal level.
Absolutely.
When I go to storytelling venues and I speak to storytellers with 20 years of experience in their back, I don't come as I'm used to do it as a little girl and ask them for permission to enter the stage. But I come from the confidence of a woman who has walked many roads of life and who doesn't need to ask the permission, who is equal.
Many roads of life, who doesn't need to ask permission.
Yeah. Like it's the feeling of entitlement. And I don't want to feel, there's a lot of like negativity connected to that word of entitlement. And I've carried that negativity, and now I want to give it away. I don't want to feel, I feel that it's a good thing to learn that feeling of entitlement. And it doesn't mean that I want to feel superior to other people. By no means. I want to be superior. I want to remove the concept of either superiority or inferiority. And I think that feeling of entitlement is what I need to cultivate, that I am worthy of being.
So let me see if I'm hearing this right. There was an old pattern around making yourself small so that others would feel comfortable, about accommodating other people's needs and playing small in the process. And that what you are preparing, what you are stepping into, is a woman who is more grounded, who owns the space around her, who approaches other people as an equal, as a woman who has walked many paths in life. and who is there as their equal, not as a little girl asking permission, but as someone who knows she already owns and deserves that space.
Yeah.
So, how did you do it with the lawyer? You had that realization before. How did you shift?
Yeah, it just happened as I was driving. Well, because that whole visit to a lawyer was actually a step into that place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I have, like I mentioned before, these issues with my daughter's father, and I decided to go to a lawyer
Mm-hmm.
and understand my rights. And as I was driving there, I just all of a sudden this feeling came over me that I am capable of hiring a lawyer.
Mm.
And I'm gonna pay a lot of money for it, but I am not going to live in the blind anymore and not know what my rights are. And I don't want to let anyone bully me, and I'm going to stand my ground.
Mm.
And as I was having this thoughts, I all of a sudden started panicking that I'm late. And then I was thinking that, well, because it was interesting because my daughter's father is kind of doing it very well, being entitled and being late and not caring, and and just it was just this realization of like, oh, I want to be like that
Mm-hmm.
without the arrogance, without making other people inferior. But I don't want to rush into rooms, even
Mm-hmm.
if I'm late. And I don't want to be apologetic. But it's
Mm-hmm.
um
And did you manage that with the lawyer? Did you walk in
um
clarity?
I think I managed that while I was in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I managed that as I was physically when I was entering the space. I think there is a lot of problem in physicality also, just like
Mm-hmm.
the physical body. I think even when you're like realizing something mentally, it takes time for the physical body to adapt.
Let's do it now. Will you stand up with me? Okay. How do you, oh, first of all, let's shake it out. We've been sitting for help. Oh, oh.
I actually don't know if I can do it now.
No, that's okay.
No, I don't. Because I think it's a lot now.
All right.
Maybe we keep it for the next time.
Of course.
Yeah, because I
Of
feel
course we can.
like there were so many good, like, there was a lot of like good insights, and and also because I just woke up and I just feel like it's gonna be pushing it.
I hear that.
I feel we can like make a placeholder because like I feel like I want to be playful in it, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think my physical body is in that state now.
Good for you for recognizing that and expressing it. I see a strong woman who knows her boundaries and finds a
Yeah,
way to speak
I
them.
am very,
Thank you.
very impressed.
Good. Me too. Good.
I was really
Ah,
surprised when it came out. Yeah.
very good.
Um, yeah, like I feel that there is like a work that's needed on the body because body also learned to make itself small, and it's almost like you see a big difference between how people move through life,
Mm,
right? Like if a person was born to privilege and if a person earned privilege, there's very different physicality about these people.
Mm-hmm.
And like I want to unlearn this. Like I think I've done a lot of unlearning in like the mental space, and I've done a lot of undoing of the trauma
Mm-hmm.
on my brain and like my emotional mental processes, and I really feel it working. It's like it's amazing to observe it, and I feel that my body is still catching up. It's and then there's such a strong connection because the moment my body contracts, I can feel my mind just dropping again into that space of smallness
Mm-hmm.
and but then I also feel there's a difference with my body as well. When I was in Paris, there was one evening when I was walking and I saw my shadow. I even wrote a poem about it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw my shadow, and it was a different shadow. My back was straight and I was walking with a different quality. It's a
Mm-hmm.
different woman walking. And I was like, I was so impressed that I wrote a poem.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's now there are glimpses of it. There's I feel some differences with how I move, but there's still a lot of this old patterns creeping in, and a lot of this like sickly person and abused person and insecure person that moves within me.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I don't want to move like that anymore. So I think that's writing it down.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm wondering is between now and next week, is
Mhm.
there one thing that you could do that you feel would move you towards standing straighter, walking taller, that physical presence of being holding your space, a woman who meets others as equals? Is there one thing you can think of that you could do that might help towards that?
Mm.
Because what I'm hearing is that this is a real physical thing. And there are loads of writing prompts that I could give you. You're a natural writer anyway, you're a poet. You could do all of that stuff. But I get the feeling that maybe this is, you said yourself, there's a physical relearning that needs to occur. So is there something physical that you could do to move towards that?
I don't know. It's a good question. Mm, maybe I need to think about it.
Mm-hmm. Thinking about it is good.
Yeah,
So, what one thing could I do each day to retrain my body to claim its own space? And that might not be quite the right wording. You might want to change the wording, but to work with
I
that.
actually like the wording a lot. Well, I'm actually like I'm almost thinking like maybe I should look for like a specific somatic exercise, like something like a very simple movement that I'm not like imagining myself, but that's like somatically tried and trusted method
Mm-hmm.
that I could just adopt in my like routine. Or something like small that I don't need to, that I don't need like to create space for and think about, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna do that otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
maybe I'll do a
look
little
for a somatic exercise that is for what exactly? To give you what?
for helping my body reclaim its space
Mm-hmm.
or learning to take the space.
Great. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Do you feel that's something that you have the time to do, that you can realistically look into and
I think so. If I don't procrastinate. I now have a lot of time to do many things,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't.
So when are you going to do this? When are you going to research a somatic
Oh, I don't like this thing.
Don't
Make
pin me down.
commit. I always hated it at all the sessions I would have with
Oh
different coaches.
no. Yeah. Don't put a time frame on it. It's all good until there's a time frame.
Maybe I will do it today.
Yeah. Fantastic. Do you need any support from me to do that? Do you want me to check in with you? Or
Yeah, that would be nice.
yeah,
Maybe if you check in with me tomorrow,
happily.
then I have a pressure a
Mm-hmm.
little bit.
Mm-hmm. I'm
I
gonna
always reserve a right to disappear and not respond. I feel bad for it.
Excellent pattern. I like that one.
Yeah, yeah,
Whip yourself on the back at the same time.
exactly.
All right, it's
With
in my book.
the best of the best.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Exactly.
Mm-mm. Okay. So
Okay.
let's take a moment. I feel like we're coming perhaps to the natural end of this session.
Yeah.
So I want to take a moment with you, if you want, just to take a few more deep breaths and reground and resettle because a lot has shifted today. And if it helps, you might want to bring your awareness to the soles of your feet and any connection with the ground. You might want to become aware of the seat of your body and that connection with the chair. And to feel the shape your body takes in this room at this moment, the weight of it. And then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I want to ask you if there's one thing that you can take away from this session today without thinking too much, but one useful revelation, one useful insight that feels important. And it can be simple and it doesn't have to cover everything.
I think it's the memory of how I felt after that event that I did at work.
Mm-hmm.
And because when all of those things were happening with me, with the performance and workshop, I felt like I don't have capacity for, I'm not like capable of enjoying success. And that memory of like, oh, I did. I know how it feels. And that understanding that it was, there's such a big difference of how I process my corporate experience and success and how I process my kind of artistic success and my like success in my passions, and kind of seeing that was very helpful. And almost, yeah, like I can almost now learn to build the bridge and merge them and connect them and not create that separation.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh my God.
Well, is there anything else that you want from our session today?
No.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. It's an absolute joy and an absolute honor. Thank you.
Thanks.
And I will be checking in with you tomorrow. Have fun finding your somatic exercise.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't worry too much about finding the perfect thing. Whatever is easy,
Yeah.
something easy will come.
Yeah. I'll do that.
All right. Sending
Thank
you
you so
much
much.
love.
Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Well done. Bye.